Almost heaven, West Derbyshire, when it's passing Derwent River. Life is older than the trees, younger than the hillside, growing like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place I belong, West Derbyshire on Kawasaki. Take me home, country roads. Well, hello to those who survived the first 47 seconds without putting it off. I thought I'd have a bit of silliness and do a sung intro on it. On the video, we're just leaving Harper Hill. That's Harper Hill. It's about a couple of miles outside Chesterfield, not Harper Hill in Buxton. I think it's a slightly different spelling, but as it's a warm Sunday, I saw no point in going out into the Peak District where it's really busy, or into Matlock Bath where it's even busier. So I thought I'd just do another video, more or less starting from home. It does go down a little bit of the route that I did last Sunday on the way to the Monkey Bike Sunday, but most of it's different roads, so I wanted to stick to the countryside route. Destination is a new bike cafe that only opened last week, hence the title Low on Fuel, because that's the name of this cafe. So obviously if I'd gone the straightforward way, it's just a boring A61 most of the way and then turn off. So I picked some country roads. I had a bit of a false start on the video in that I'd set the route and put it into my beeline, and the beeline kept disconnecting and switching itself off. So I did a couple of miles, then back to the start, and then started again. So hopefully it's right this time. So my singing intro, I just thought I'd add a bit of silliness to it, because the YouTubers that aren't afraid to make a bit of a fool of themselves and laugh about it, they seem to be the ones that attract quite a lot of viewers. So I decided to plagiarise John Denver, obviously John Denver, and also the cover version by Olivia Newton-John. They're quite a bit better than mine really, but they don't mention Derbyshire and they don't mention Kawasaki, so mine's better in that way, in my silly opinion. So two that I watch regular, Monkey Dick's Adventures and Top Boy Johnny, and they do a bit of their own singing introduction. So this cafe is on the A615, and it's particularly aimed at bikers. It's on a popular route from between Alfreton and Matlock, which is obviously Matlock Bath is the big destination, so it should catch quite a bit of passing trade. It's only it's still not totally complete, but it is open, so they're still doing a bit of work to it, and they're going to be serving food and opening 4 days a week apparently. It's at it used to be a pub called the Plough, which I remember going to many years back. In fact, they used to have a children's play area that we would take our daughter to, because it wasn't that far from where my wife's family lived, so we used to often go up there in the evening, and it must be over 40 years ago that, so I've not really been up that way all that much for a drink or anything. So the other part of my title, this turning here, I was just going on this part of the route that I did last week, so it goes towards Claycross and then it turns off in a different direction. Yeah, so the other part, the low on fuel and then the high on comfort is the fact that I've just put some risers on the handlebars, and
Thank you.
I always thought my sitting position on the bike, because I've got short arms, some would probably say short arms and long pockets, but I like leaning forward position, and I'm getting a bit old to ride long distances with my back sort of lean forward, and also when I'm doing some filming with the chest camera on, I noticed that I've always got to make allowances for a lean and set the camera in a slightly up-facing angle. And this is the first ride I've put the camera on since I put these risers on, and I'm now finding that I must be sat with my back almost vertical because the camera goes parallel to my chest, so it should in theory be a lot more accurate for setting it, and I shouldn't get either pictures of the sky or pictures of the ground when I'm filming. And I'm quite positive of them so far. I'll put a little picture of them and also a picture showing me riding position as it was, just as a comparison to how it is now. I've been quite happy with this Kawasaki Eliminator that I got just over a year ago. It's had a couple of modifications. It didn't come with a back rack, but I had that fitted on when I bought it, so all I did then was put my box on it that I used to have on my old scooter. It's got like protective bungs in case I drop it, which minimise the damage. It's only like toppled over at very low speed a couple of times, but that was really in control of it. Like rather than try and pull it back and strain your back, if you feel it going over when you're stood, it's better to make it go down slowly rather than risk injuring your back, and it doesn't damage the bike at that. Well, luckily it's not done anything. I think one of the times it just knocked mirrors out of place, but nothing. And the another modification that I had almost immediately after I got the bike was the extenders to the mirrors. I think the original mirrors on the Kawasaki Eliminator are absolutely hopeless. You can see somebody overtaking you or undertaking you when they're fairly close to you, but if you're leading a group ride, I found that you couldn't see a few bikes back if they're still following. So that was a big improvement having them on. So this one, I ordered the risers for the handlebars from a company on eBay, and they arrived, I think it was Friday, and I fitted on more or less straight away because I wanted to get out and try them. So I had a very short ride the other day, and this is the first time I've properly tested them, and I'm very positive about them. So we're heading down to Littlemore and Woollymore, so I'm going to put a bit of music on, and you'll be pleased to know it's just recorded music, it's not me singing this time. So here we are, we're just coming out of the village of Woollymore, looking over in the distance at Ogston Reservoir, which is very popular with sailors. So when we get down to the bottom, I'm going to pull into the car park, just have a little drive or ride around the car park and have a closer look at it. It's quite popular with visitors, having picnics and that sort of thing. So the village of Woollymore that we just left, is a nice pub that does good food called the White Horse. We just passed that and been there a few times on family meals and that sort of thing, so well recommended that. So just turning into the little lane for the main entrance to Ogston Reservoir, and I'll kind of pull into the car park and just have a drive around. It's like a little one-way roundabout system, and then get a bit closer look at the actual reservoir. Turning somewhere just around here, I think. Yep. No, round another corner, sorry, and into the entrance. And then, of course, I've pulled into the wrong entrance. That seems to be some sort of delivery entrance there. So, it says Sailing Club, so maybe it's only open at certain times. I think the next one's probably the visitors car park, so I'll pull into there and around the little roundabout and just have a quick look off route from where we're heading. Well, that's an old-fashioned ice cream truck being towed on as a trailer rather than the actual van. So here we are, just approaching. Very interesting car just there. That's the sort of thing that they used to put picnic hampers on the back in the olden days, and a day out was sort of to drive out and stop at a place like that. So whoever owns it, sort of keeping up the old tradition of getting your car out on a Sunday and visiting a nice location for a picnic. So we're heading away from Ogston towards the village of Brassington. Just going back to the modifications on the motorbike, one of my more recent ones was heated grips. I tried rechargeable heated gloves, but I wasn't too impressed with them really. They seemed to be quite warm to start with, but switch themselves off quite often. So on my ADV 350 that I had previously, I had heated grips on. They were Oxford ones, and I found them to be quite effective. There was also a hand guard on those, so I suppose that protected you from the wind as well as warming your hands. Well, the Oxford ones had got like a separate control. These have got a push button one. You can't actually see it because it's on the left hand side, which is just off shot here, but it's like push button on the actual handlebar grip, so it's a lot less intrusive than the ones on the Oxford, even though the Oxford ones were actually good, effective heated grips. I think they got about 10 heat settings. These have got, I think, 4 heat settings, but that's plenty anyway. I think 10's far more than you need. You just want sort of warm, a bit warmer, hot and a bit hotter. I don't think you necessarily need 10. So we've just gone into Brackenfield village now, and then we go round the rural part of the village, and then the cafe itself is on the main road on the A615. Like I said before, that's the main route. Probably even for people coming off the A38 and bypassing Alfreton and then carrying on the A615 that takes you to Matlock, and then either go through Matlock town centre or take a shortcut over the hills, a village called Starcombs. That's a route that I often take, and that's the location of a very popular classic bike meet that's held once a month, Wednesday lunchtimes. So that's a route we take quite often. If we've been to a cafe, we approach it from one or two directions depending on where we've been for our Wednesday breakfast. So we're now in Braston itself. It's quite a pleasant little village. I think there's a village green somewhere on here, if I remember rightly. May have gone a different way out of the village. But here there's some really wide grass areas, which is quite unusual these days to have these big open green areas that you usually find them getting built on. So we're just not far off approaching the A615 now. Supposedly you can do 60 on here, as you can legally with a lot of these narrow country lanes, because that's like the default setting if it's not been set for the speed limit. But it's a bit reckless to go through a lane like this at 60 mile an hour, I think. So we're just round this turning, and then we get onto the main road, and it's not far to the cafe from there. As I was saying, it used to be ploughing, and I think it's been shut for quite a while, and it's just been taken over by the new people running it. So it's open for drinks and snacks at the moment, but they are intending setting a kitchen up and offering like probably full breakfasts, or at least breakfast cobs. The beeline's telling me I've gone past it. I must have just set it for the general postcode rather than the place itself, but here it is, just pulling into the car park. So I'll park up, and then coming up at the end is going to be the route that I've taken, if anybody is interested in going to it via back lanes rather than the main road. So until the next time then, goodbye.